Today, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all the entertainment you love without all the hassle. DirecTV Stream brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, which means you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. And the best part? There's no annual contract, so stop waiting and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Pablo Torre, and it is great to be back on PTI.
Tony Kornheiser, look at you. When did you win the Masters? Did you win it in 72 holes, or did you have to go to a playoff? Where'd you get that?
I'm just glad you didn't make like a junior Masters champion dig at me. I appreciate that I got to play the adults. That's something that I appreciate.
I would never do anything like that. I really think it looks good. What happened to your tie? Did you leave it in the ante room somewhere? Or did you give it to a cab driver? What happened to your tie?
It's ESPN2, Tony. It's ESPN2 in August. Come on.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. Wilbon is out for load management, so I am pleased to be joined by our great friend, the host of the ESPN Daily Podcast, Mr. Pablo Torre. Here we go. And we begin today with the bombshell from New England that the Patriots have released Cam Newton. Released him. So there is no quarterback controversy on the Patriots anymore. Mac Jones has the job, and Cam Newton is out in the street. Pablo, are you surprised Bill Belichick did this, and where does Newton go from here?
Yes, I am surprised, not least because I heard that Adam Schefter was surprised. So yeah, let's all be surprised by this, and rightfully so. What surprised me the most, though, Tony, is that it is so hard to find a useful quarterback who is even vaguely decent anywhere. So I was like, okay, well, why didn't they trade him? Why didn't they do that? And so there are two theories as to why they did it. So maybe Bill Belichick did Cam Newton a favor. Okay, maybe that's so. Or secondly, maybe actually Cam Newton has no market, partially because he's unvaccinated. There was just that whole story about having to miss 5 days of practice. Or maybe it's because also he's just not that good. So the Patriots have their guy who's been better than Cam Newton all preseason in Mac Jones, but I am floored by how little value Cam Newton seems to have.
So to direct the answer to the question, are you surprised? Surprise doesn't come close to me. I'm stunned. I'm flabbergasted. I am bowled over. I thought for certain Bill Belichick wanted to start Cam Newton. I thought Cam Newton had been good enough in exhibition games and practice, certainly better than last year. He was throwing the ball crisply. He was actually throwing the ball down the field. I did not see this coming at all. And I think we now have to pay attention when Bill Belichick actually says, we have some tough decisions to make, because I did not see this coming. In terms of where he goes next, he's probably not a starter in the league, although, I have to say this, Ben Roethlisberger looked like he was cooked last year, just like Cam Newton. And you watch him in practice this year, and you watch him in exhibition games, and both of them seem to have gotten better. Cam Newton runs well, passes good enough. To me, Baltimore is the perfect spot because that's the offense that they run. And the other spot that I look at is Houston, because I don't think Deshaun Watson is playing this year. I don't think he's playing.
Tony, that's where my brain goes. What team is the most desperate for anything resembling quarterbacking stability? That is Houston. Because you're right, we're hearing details. Okay, maybe Deshaun Watson's not going on the exempt list. Maybe he is. They have no idea. We have no idea. The thing about Cam Newton, though, is that if he was a vaccinated quarterback, there would be that much more stability. And so that X factor, to me, keeps on entering the equation again.
Let me just give you two other teams that I thought of. The New York Giants, because Daniel Jones hasn't done anything, and the Dallas Cowboys, whose backup now is a man named Cooper Rush, who I've never heard of, and their main quarterback gets hurt all the time. And I will add this one thing. Everyone in New England said the same thing about Cam Newton, a great locker room guy. They all loved him. There's got to be room somewhere for that.
Well, let's turn to the Mac Jones part of the equation, Tony, because he joins Drew Bledsoe now and Jim Plunkett as the only Patriots rookie quarterbacks to start in Week 1. And he'll face, get this, Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback he succeeded at Alabama. And it's worth mentioning this. Bill Belichick went 7-9 and missed the playoffs last season, Tony. So what sort of pressure now falls on Mac Jones to not just succeed, but to succeed immediately?
So I think there's a lot less pressure today than there was yesterday, because he has no particular rival for this job unless Bill Belichick reaches out and makes a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Because Cam Newton is now gone. So this job belongs to Mac Jones. And it likely belongs to Mac Jones because of this resume. Won the national championship last year, went undefeated, has a coach, Nick Saban, who's Bill Belichick's dear friend, who had to have said to him, this kid can run your offense. And the other part of his resume is Belichick just cut Cam Newton. So, you say they're 7-9. I don't think that winning more than 10 games is likely to happen to them in anybody's estimation, not with Miami and Buffalo in the same division. I think the pressure is less today on Jones than yesterday.
So you mentioned that he does not have a rival, and that is technically true. But the rival now, Tony, because we're at a place where Mac Jones has been better in the preseason than Trevor Lawrence even. And now, as you say, he's knocked out Cam Newton. The rival now, let's just say it together, it's Tom Brady. I mean, that's where this goes next. Because if you're a Patriots fan, Tony, what you're doing is something very, very dangerous. You're squinting and looking at your new significant other, and you're thinking, I think this kind of looks like my ex. You look at Mac Jones and you're like, wait a minute, we run an offense like Tom Brady used to run it. He's dominating these preseason games and practices. I think the pressure comes from there. The comparison now has gone sky high on the highest level.
So let's look at Brady, because Tampa Bay comes into New England in week 4, and he gets to play against Brady. You think that might get a rating? You think people might turn that on in terms of television? I didn't compare him to Brady last year at Alabama. I compared him to Bart Starr, that he was smart, that he was successful, and he was efficient. I'm not going to go near Brady yet on anything like that. And we move now to Ben Simmons wanting out. The Philadelphia Inquirer reports that Simmons has told Sixers ownership and management he no longer wants to remain on that team. The 3-time All-Star does not intend to report to training camp when it starts at the end of September, which is in just a few weeks. Pablo, what does this do to the Sixers?
So this is the next logical move in this chess game. I'm not surprised by this. The Sixers are not surprised by this. This has been very, very thinly veiled, the idea that Ben Simmons wanted out of Philly. And the only leverage, of course, that he has, and he's represented, by the way, by Clutch, that is the agency most famously associated with LeBron James. The only move he has is to not show up. So what do you do if you're the Sixers? If I'm Daryl Morey, Tony, I am not doing anything. What happened here is that leverage has been destroyed by the fact that Ben Simmons wants out, and now everybody knows it and wants no part of this team. So what do? You have to say, or pretend at least, like you're going to be patient, like you're willing to play games without him, because otherwise you're getting, 65 cents on the dollar for a guy who's a 25-year-old 3-time All-Star.
This is exactly how I felt, and I know you're the person who invented Trust the Process. Here's what they have from Trust the Process. They had 83,000 number 1 draft picks, and now they have one. They have Joel Embiid, who they're going to pay $50 million a year to play about 50 to 55 games. If Simmons doesn't show up, what are they going to get for him? They got no squad. You're not going to get Damian Lillard for a guy who just announced, I'm not going back no matter what. You're not going to get that. The amount of money that Simmons just cost the 76ers is amazing. He went to the floor. People are going to offer John Wall for him. You're not, tell me I'm wrong. What are you getting for this guy?
No, Tony, I just want to point this out because you're not wrong. What they need to do now is wait out the Blazers and wait out maybe the Warriors into a package that they like with a third team involved. But here's why we're here, because I'm going to blame Joel Embiid here, the guy you just mentioned. He was handling this with his emotions and not his brain. If you wanted Ben Simmons out of your life, you should not have insulted Ben Simmons publicly. Doc Rivers was doing the same thing. What you do is you lie and you say, I love this guy, and therefore you get a deal that your general manager might actually enjoy. But because everyone was way too public with their emotions, they're at a place where, of course, Ben Simmons wants no part of you either.
The Philadelphia 76ers are not going to get value for this guy, as you pointed out. But whoever lands him is going to get him basically for nothing. And they're going to get, I believe, a great player. Let's take a break. But coming up, the PGA Tour is coming down on fans who yell, Brooksy, at Bryson DeChambeau.
And Tony, is Andy Murray right to be upset that the man who beat him took way too long to use the bathroom?
How many number 1s did they have that remain? None. One guy, Embiid, one guy gives you 55 games a year. What do you got?
I think Ben Simmons is going to be so good as a Golden State Warrior, Tony. He is going to make everyone look so stupid for laughing at his face as if he was done in this league. He's not done. He's just in the wrong situation, unfortunately.
Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part? There's no annual contract, so get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
Express is all new and made to express you. From the stretchiest jeans in the game to confidence-boosting suits that feel like sweats, discover new arrivals at Express. Shop at express.com or in stores.
More headlines, starting with tennis beef. Last night at the U.S. Open, the third seed, Stefanos Tsitsipas, beat the ghost of Andy Murray in 5 sets in a match that took 4 hours and 49 minutes. Murray was steamed about the 2 long breaks Tsitsipas took. One to see the trainer after going down 2-1 in sets, and one to go to the bathroom after the 4th set. Tsitsipas said, quote, "I don't think I broke any rules," unquote. Pablo, does Murray have reason to be upset with Tsitsipas?
So as the son of a urologist, Tony, I'm inclined to advise everyone, look, you should probably answer when nature calls, right? I understand that. That's fine. The issue here, though, is that nature apparently keeps calling this guy over and over again. There is another story that was presented to Andy Murray that he, I think, politely demurred about. But the fact is, at the Cincinnati Open in that semifinal, his opponent in that one complained because he took a multi-minute break in which he was allegedly checking his phone to consult his coach. So something seems to be afoot here. And if I'm Andy Murray, yeah, I'm mad about this. I need wins. I was on a run, and then my opponent allegedly got the runs. So yeah, not thrilled about that.
So it's interesting because when I first heard the story, I thought Andy Murray would be happy because he's older and he's been injured, and I thought a break in the match would help him recoup whatever energy he has. But then I found out that he said he just sat there waiting for this guy and got colder and colder and colder. I had heard today the same things that you heard, that he goes into the bathroom and he brings a cell phone and maybe he's doing something that's wrong, which is consulting with his
Allegedly.
coach. The other thing that I heard, and he did it in Cincinnati, I want to get the numbers right, he had 5 bathroom breaks during that tournament that averaged nearly 7 minutes per, and that's a long time. Then I heard he likes to go into the bathroom and change his clothes. And I thought to myself, what are you trying on wedding suits? What do you mean you're changing your clothes? So the pattern here is disturbing. The pattern is disturbing because either he has a significant medical issue or it looks like he's cheating. That's what it looks like.
Yes, and if he has an issue, by the way, again, my dad could be of service. It's a pass if you're out there listening. But we move on, Tony, as if we were spending the afternoon at the country club, in fact, because we're going from tennis to golf now. And PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan said today that disruptive comments from fans will no longer be tolerated, and that could lead to expulsion. Monahan specified an incident on Sunday where a fan yelling "Brooksy" angered Bryson DeChambeau. So, Tony, is a tour's crackdown here fair or foul?
Do I sense an anti-country club bias from you when Wilbon and I were about to nominate you for Columbia? Really? So maybe
wait a minute. I didn't know I was going to be nominated. That changes everything. Well, I'm no longer a populist.
Wilbon and I like you that much. Now you could be out. Well, you know, but you can go to Augusta with that jacket, so don't worry about it.
Okay,
so let me get to this issue for a second. Unlike Michael Wilbon, I like Bryson DeChambeau. I think he's great for golf. I think he's trying to do something new in a game that hasn't seen something new in over 100 years. I think he's a young kid who's committed to change and committed his body to it. So I like him. In terms of this particular issue, I think you have to look at the character of the sport. There's not a lot of yelling in golf. There's not a lot of personal confrontation in golf. It's not that kind of sport. So if you yell Brooksy and it gets under his nerves, I don't think you have to be ejected from that, but I think the threat of ejection is okay, because everybody knows what this is about. This is a complete dig at him with his rivalry with Brooks Koepka.
I think the PGA is also concerned that Bryson will go back and forth with a fan, right? I think there is decorum, and there's also the avoidance of a PR nightmare. You don't want your players, your athletes, going at it with the gallery in that way. But I'm with you in terms of Bryson being interesting, Tony. Kevin Van Valkenburg wrote a piece for ESPN.com about this, and he had an insight that I think changes how I see him entirely. He said that Bryson DeChambeau is the villain of golf, and all he wants to be is liked. When you see him through that lens, all of this kind of adds up. He wants to be the maverick, he wants to be the visionary, but most of all, he wants to be a hero, and everything with Koepka, and now this, it involves him being hated by the gallery.
So let me go back to this. Golf is not a stadium sport. There's no bat flips in golf. There's no booing in golf. There's, all of that stuff in the other sports doesn't exist in golf. And in this particular case, Brooks Koepka is the antagonist, not Bryson DeChambeau. It is Brooks Koepka who is pinching all the time. I think people have to sort of understand that. That's it. Let's take one last break. Still to come, South Carolina decides to start an assistant coach quarterback.
And did Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor really need to apologize to Mets fans today?
Do you play golf, by the way? Wilbon and I play a lot. We stink, but we play a lot. Do you play?
My dad would like me to play. I am not good at golf, but I'm good at being interviewed by admissions committees in case you actually do want to put me up for, is it Columbia? Where are we going here, Tony? Because I'm happy to compromise all my principles.
Hi, football fans. I want to tell you that NFL Sunday Ticket.tv is like having front row seats to every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon, no matter where you live. Stream right to your favorite device. And this season, that means 18 weeks of glory and more games than ever before. Visit NFLSundayTicket.tv and order today. Use promo code PTI2021 at checkout to save 15%. Select international games excluded. Eligibility restrictions apply. Compatible device required. Data charges may apply. Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. And I bet it can be hard work. You know it's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
Happy time, people. Happy 38th birthday, Larry Fitzgerald, the great pass receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, who played 17 seasons in Phoenix, is an unsigned free agent. Fitzgerald recently told SiriusXM Radio he doesn't feel the urge to play right now. Fitzgerald admitted, quote, "It's a completely new thing. I've never felt this before," unquote. Fitzgerald, who we root for because he is the son of a sports writer, is a distant second all-time to Jerry Rice in career receptions and career receiving yards. And he's sixth all-time in receiving touchdowns, so clearly he's going to the Hall of Fame. It's possible Fitzgerald will come back and play somewhere this year. He's never won a Super Bowl. But it's also possible he's had enough and will content himself to play golf at a variety of great courses he belongs to. On a personal note, Wilbon and I were playing Seminole a year or two ago, and Fitzgerald came over and introduced himself to me and called me Mr. Kornheiser.
Tony, I just want to point out that Larry Fitzgerald is playing this perfectly, because I think he will feel the itch again to play. So what does he do? He skips the preseason, all at training camp, OTAs, all the fall and the cold weather games, and he comes back and wins a title with like the Bucks? Is that what happens here? Masterfully played, Mr. Fitzgerald, if so.
He can walk in and play, I guarantee you that. Happy anniversary, Minnesota Twins. On this day 2 years ago, the Twins slugged 6 home runs in a 10-7 loss to Detroit, which gave them 268 homers for the season, breaking the record set by the Yankees just 1 year before. The Twins went on to hit a record 307 home runs. Now, home run production noticeably down this year. The San Francisco Giants lead the majors with 197. That's on pace for 244 homers, which would only rank as the 21st most by one team all time. In 2019, 10 different teams hit more than 244 home runs. With only 5 weeks left in the season, baseball is on pace for 5,895 home runs, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but it would be way down from the record 6,776 in 2019. The leading theory as to why home runs are down is the new ball, which isn't as lively. It seems baseball clearly wants to curtail the home run explosion that it saw from 2016 to 2019.
Tony, is there any commissioner who's been more like Goldilocks than Rob Manfred? Everything's a little bit too warm or too cold. We want more home runs, now fewer. We have now all these pitchers who are checking like they're at TSA checkpoints, throwing their belts at umpires. I don't know if you personally miss the home run, but if you want more home runs, just juice the ball again. Go back to what you were doing before. You did it pretty well.
Me, I just want the porridge that's just right. Happy trails to coaching for Zeb Noland. To bring you up to speed, Zeb Noland was the backup quarterback to Trey Lance last fall at North Dakota State and started for the Bison in the spring. Although he had 1 year of eligibility remaining, Noland agreed to become a graduate assistant coach at South Carolina. But after South Carolina's starting quarterback, Luke Doty, injured his foot, Noland traded his coaching gear for helmet and pads. And now Noland will start when South Carolina opens its season against Eastern Illinois. This recalls the travels of Gardner Minshew. Minshew was set to transfer from East Carolina to Alabama just so he could eventually become a grad assistant for Nick Saban. But Mike Leach, who was then coaching at Washington State, intervened and asked Minshew, "Do you want to lead the country in passing?" unquote. It was an offer he couldn't refuse. And in fact, Minshew finished second in the country, just 52 yards behind leader Dwayne Haskins.
While we're on Gardner Minshew here for a second, Tony, the idea that your boy went for a 6th round pick makes me think that Urban Meyer should be eating his tie on television. Not me. I have not been more right about a thing, I think, in my life than that particular story.
One omission, Lions coach Dan Campbell cut both kickers this afternoon, leaving the team with none. None.
I hope this means that he goes for it every single 4th down.
Big finish, here we go. Francisco Lindor and Javi Baez apologized to Mets fans for giving them the thumbs down. Was that necessary?
I guess so, but also just acknowledge that when you're bad, the fans will boo you. That is how sports works. Meanwhile, Ohio State freshman quarterback Quinn Ewers signed a name, image, and likeness deal with a marketing company for a reported $1.4 million. Your thoughts?
He left high school early to go to Ohio State. He bet on himself. He won big. Josh Rosen made the Falcons roster. Dwayne Haskins made the Steelers roster. Bigger surprise.
The bigger surprise is how Josh Rosen looks. He's aging like a president, Tony, at age 24. The Saints reportedly plan to put Michael Thomas on the physically unable to perform list, and he wouldn't be able to play till week 7. Your thoughts?
That hurts. I know he had no touchdowns last year, but he's a quality receiver, and they don't have Drew Brees anymore. Top seed Novak Djokovic opens tonight against someone named Holger Rune. Are you smelling upset?
Sure, let's say so. Yeah, upset. Absolutely.
Out of time. Try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Pablo Torre. Thank you for watching. And please check out ESPN Daily on Apple or Spotify, wherever you get good podcasts.
I'm going to shout out to Rick Elliott. Played golf with him the other day. Probably.
Today, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all the entertainment you love without all the hassle. DirecTV Stream brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, which means you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. And the best part? There's no annual contract. So stop waiting and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.